Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of horror movies, curses, and mysterious real-life events, then buckle up, because today we're diving into 3 horror movies that claim to be cursed, part 2. So I have got 3 horror classics in today's video with some very scary real-life events that happened during the filming on these movies and events that have happened since. So get yourselves comfy and let's get started. When you think of horror classics, one film sits at the top of the throne of terror, The Exorcist. Released in 1973, it shocked audiences worldwide, earning its place in horror history, but for decades, whispers of a curse have haunted its legacy, raising a chilling question: was The Exorcist itself touched by something otherworldly?
My experience with this movie has been incredible, especially with people fainting. Halfway through the movie, the movie starts getting quite violent, and people get quite unusual reactions, and we have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint. I mean, it's hard to make people faint.
The Exorcist was no ordinary movie. It was a cultural phenomenon. Adapted from William Peter Blatty's novel, it brought demonic possession into the mainstream. Its spine-chilling scenes left viewers fainting, vomiting, and, as some reports claim, even suffering heart attacks and a miscarriage. But was the horror limited to just the screen? Let's have a look. The overall atmosphere on set was described by many as deeply unsettling. Cast and crew reported feeling a pervasive sense of unease with inexplicable technical malfunctions and cold drafts in areas that should have been tightly controlled. This led some to speculate that an otherworldly force may have taken an interest in the production of The Exorcist. There was also a fire. A blaze mysteriously broke out on set, destroying the McNeil house. What makes this event particularly chilling is the fact that Reagan's bedroom, the central location of the exorcism scenes, was completely unharmed by the flames. Director William Friedkin speculated on the bizarre nature of the incident, while others whispered about supernatural intervention. The unexplained cause of the fire led to delays that extended production significantly. Also, director William Friedkin was so unnerved that he ended up calling in a priest to bless the set. Think about that just for a moment. A man who created one of the most terrifying movies ever made felt the need for spiritual protection. One injury occurred to Ellen Burstyn, who played Reagan's mother, Chris. In one memorable scene, her character is flung across the room by her possessed daughter. This stunt involved Burstyn wearing this harness, but the force extended on her was far more powerful than expected. She landed very hard, injuring her spine in the process. Now, Burstyn ended up screaming her head off during the scene, and this was actually a genuine expression of pain that was actually included in the final cut of the movie. So yeah, the scream that you hear in the movie, that's real pain. For Linda Blair, who was just 13 years old during the filming, the experience was far from ordinary. During a pivotal scene where her character, Reagan, is violently thrown around by the demonic entity, a malfunction in the mechanicals rig caused her harness to jolt unexpectedly. Poor Linda Blair, she was injured and she suffered a permanent back injury that would affect her, way after the filming had concluded. The screams of pain captured during the sequence were disturbingly real, and ultimately, her screams also made it into the final cut of the movie. tragedy also seemed to follow those involved. Jack McGowan, who played Burke Dennings, died of complications from the flu shortly after finishing his scenes. Also, the lady who portrayed Father Karras's mother, she ended up passing away before the film was released. Neither death was directly related to the production, but fans couldn't help but notice the eerie timing. The darkness wasn't just on the set. Paul Bateson, who was an extra who appears as a nurse in the X-ray scene, he was later convicted of murder. The connection only deepened the movie's sinister reputation. These strange occurrences raised enough concern that many involved believed that they were under a real curse. These events not only delayed production but also created an enduring legend that would become inseparable from the film's legacy. What do you guys think? The Curse of the Exorcist, fact or fiction? Let me know in the comments. Rosemary's Baby. Released in 1968, this psychological horror film directed by Roman Polanski quickly became a masterpiece, but behind the scenes, a series of strange and tragic events have left many wondering, was Rosemary's Baby cursed? To set the stage, Rosemary's Baby is based on Ira Levin's novel, and it tells the story of a young woman who's manipulated into bearing the child of Satan. Creepy, right? Well, as terrifying as the story is on screen, the real-life events surrounding the movie are even more unsettling. Let's start with one of the most haunting tragedies linked to the film, the murder of Sharon Tate. Now, Sharon Tate was Roman Polanski's wife at the time, and while she wasn't directly involved in the production, her name has become tragically intertwined with the movie's legacy. Just a year after Rosemary's Baby premiered, Sharon was brutally murdered in her home by members of the Manson family. The horrifying crime shocked the world, and many couldn't help but draw eerie connections between the movie's plot and the dark forces at play in real life. Was this just an awful coincidence, or was there something more sinister at play? I mean, some even speculate that Polanski's exploration of occult themes might have invited misfortune. Next, let's talk about the building where much of Rosemary's Baby was filmed. The Dakota in New York City. Now, this Gothic-style apartment building is iconic in its own right, but it's also wrapped in an air of mystery. Years after Rosemary's Baby hit the screens, the Dakota became the site of another shocking event: the assassination of John Lennon. Now, while John Lennon's tragic death happened more than a decade later, the association just adds to the eerie aura surrounding the building. Is the Dakota just a beautiful historic building, or is it something more ominous? But the strange and tragic events don't stop there. Let's just take a quick look at what happened to some of the key people involved in the film's productions. You got Christoph Komoda, the brilliant composer behind the haunting score. Now, tragically, he passed away in a freak accident just months after finishing his work on the movie. Some people claimed that his death mirrored the fate of a character in Rosemary's Baby, who also dies under mysterious circumstances. Then there is William Castle, the film's producer. Now, William Castle received threatening letters accusing him of promoting Satanism through the movie. Shortly after its release, he suffered a severe health scare, a case of gallstones so intense that he reportedly hallucinated scenes from the movie while in the hospital. Now, he later claimed that the film was cursed. And what about the author of Rosemary's Baby, Ira Levin? While Levin enjoyed great success with his novel, the aftermath was far from smooth sailing. Levin faced backlash from religious groups accusing him of glorifying the occult. On top of that, his personal life crumbled, his marriage fell apart, and he lived under a cloud of guilt for years, haunted by the unintended consequences of his work. Some say that his struggles were just bad luck, while others pointed to the mysterious web of tragedies connected to the movie. Could it really just all be a coincidence, or was Rosemary's Baby really a cursed horror story? The Conjuring hit theatres in 2013, I remember it very well, and it terrified audiences worldwide. Directed by James Wan, it's based on the real-life paranormal investigation of the Perron family by Ed and Lorraine Warren, two of the most well-known demonologists. The film claims to depict true events, but what many people don't know is that the curse might have extended beyond the story itself, right into the production process. While the cameras were rolling, eerie events plagued the production. Now, Vera Farmiga, who portrayed Lorraine Warren, experienced something very, very terrifying. She discovered 3 claw marks etched onto her laptop screen.
At the end of it, I said, Patrick's in, I'm in. And I opened my computer and there was these claw marks across the last day after we got back, flew home from North Carolina where we filmed, and the next morning I woke up in my own bed. And let me show you. And the same claw marks appeared on my thigh.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I have to quote.
But that wasn't the only incident. The set itself caught fire one night, equipment was destroyed, but oddly enough, the one area left unscathed was the room recreating the Perron family's haunted house. Now, I just talked about the exact same incident that happened during the filming of The Exorcist, and now I've got chills running down my spine. It wasn't just the cast and crew who felt the aftermath. The Perron family, the real-life inspiration for this movie, they claimed that the paranormal activity in their own home escalated after the film's release in 2013. They heard sinister noises and felt dark, oppressive energies that hadn't been there before. So did this movie actually stir up something that should have been left alone? Let's not forget the strange behavior of animals around the set. There were dogs, who were believed to sense spirits. They refused to enter certain areas. They barked and they howled for no apparent reason. Now, if that doesn't make your skin crawl, I don't know what will. Now, of course, there's always the skeptic's perspective. Could all of these events from all of these horror movies simply just be coincidences, blown out of proportion to create buzz around the films? Or is there something darker at play, lingering in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? One thing's for sure, whether if any of these movies are cursed or not, they have all left an unforgettable mark on horror fans in the horror world, and possibly something else behind as well. Thank you all for joining me today, guys, as we explain the eerie mysteries surrounding these iconic horror movies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the world of horror. And remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones we can't explain.